Welcome to MovieNest. Let's dive into today's mind-blowing film. In London, a secret MI6 team led by Hattie is sent to recover a dangerous virus called Snowflake from a tech-based terror group known as Eden. The mission begins with a helicopter drop right outside their facility, blowing the doors wide open. The agents fight their way in using grenades, gunfire, and brutal hand-to-hand combat, while her teammates keep the guards busy. Hattie manages to break into a secure case to retrieve the virus, but just as she gets it, she runs into Brixton, a former MI6 agent turned cyber-enhanced super soldier working for Idris. With machine-like precision, Brixton scans the team and takes them all out in seconds, blocking bullets with his bare hands. Cornered and desperate, Hattie makes a shocking choice. She injects the virus into herself to keep it from falling into his hands. By the time Brixton gets outside, she's already gone. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Agent Luke Hobbs is introduced in his usual style, storming into a karaoke bar and taking down a gang with ease. He uses his fists, brute strength, and a little intimidation to get information about the virus. But the gang leader knows nothing. To make sure the man remembers their meeting, Hobbs leaves him with a humiliating tattoo on his forehead. Across the world in London, Deckard Shaw is doing the same job, but in his own way. At a fancy party, he crashes into the VIP section and uses anything he can get his hands on as a weapon, beating an entire group within minutes. When he questions their boss, the man also knows nothing about Snowflake. Shaw leaves him dangling outside a window as payback before walking away. Later, we see Hobbs spending some rare family time with his daughter, Sam. She's working on a family tree project for school but quickly realizes her dad avoids talking about their family history. Before Hobbs can explain, their meal is interrupted by a CIA agent. He reveals the truth about Snowflake. It's a bioweapon capable of liquefying human organs, and Hattie is now the prime suspect for stealing it and killing her own team in the process. The scientist who created it is also missing. The CIA wants Hobbs to track Hattie down, believing he's the only one skilled enough to do it. At the same time in London, Shaw visits his mother in prison. Their conversation is quick but sharp, and it's clear Shaw hasn't spoken to his sister Hattie in years. His mother cheekily reminds him that family always comes first, even showing she can still slip out of handcuffs without effort. On his way out, Shaw is also approached by the CIA. They show him a picture of Hattie and explain the situation. If he helps bring her in, she might earn immunity. Shaw agrees, though reluctantly, since it means working alongside another agent. Meanwhile, Hattie realizes she's been framed. Even her own people believe she killed her squad, which means if she surrenders, she's as good as dead. She arms herself, rigs her apartment with traps, and prepares to survive on her own. But soon, Hobbs and Shaw both arrive at CIA headquarters, only to discover their new mission partner is each other. Two men who absolutely hate working with anyone, especially each other, now have to team up to save the world. At the CIA office, Hobbs and Shaw come face to face, and the tension is immediate. They've crossed paths before and never got along, so their reunion quickly turns into a shouting match. When agents try to calm them down, Hobbs even throws a chair at the door in frustration. In the end, they refuse to work together and decide to hunt down Hattie on their own. Hobbs reviews surveillance footage and notices she's been moving through areas without cameras, which helps him track her location. Meanwhile, Shaw sneaks into Hattie's apartment. The moment he opens the door, he spots one of her traps. He carefully avoids it, but soon Idris agents ambush him. Shaw fights back with his usual ruthless creativity, using furniture and whatever's at hand to knock them all out, even tossing one man through a window. The struggle almost sets off Hattie's trap, but Shaw manages to defuse it in time. Elsewhere, Hattie checks into a hotel, steals a guest's bag and key, and uses the clothes inside as a disguise. Just as she's about to leave, Hobbs finds her. She fights fiercely, smashing him with a helmet and throwing anything within reach, even locking him in a chokehold. But Hobbs barely breaks a sweat. He overpowers her, cuffs her, and drags her in. At Idris headquarters, Brixton undergoes brutal cybernetic upgrades. It's revealed that Idris' plan is terrifying. Use the Snowflake virus to wipe out the weak and rebuild humanity with enhanced super soldiers. Back at the CIA, Hobbs interrogates Hattie. He tells her he doesn't believe she killed her team, but he can't set her free without proof. When Hobbs steps out to take a call from his daughter, Hattie uses a broken piece of her necklace to pick the cuffs, knocks out the agent guarding her, and grabs his gun. Hobbs walks in just as she's about to escape, but Shaw arrives too, pulling the gun and revealing that Hattie is his sister. Their argument is cut short when an explosion rips through the window. Brixton and his men storm in, knocking Hattie unconscious and kidnapping her. Using high-tech harnesses, they sprint down the side of the skyscraper with her. Hobbs and Shaw fight off the remaining henchmen, then launch into pursuit. Hobbs dives straight out of the window onto an enemy while Shaw takes the elevator. Hattie wakes up mid-escape and cuts the rope, sending the group crashing onto a glass rooftop. Hobbs, Shaw, and Brixton all collide in a brutal showdown as the glass shatters beneath them. Hobbs, Shaw, and Brixton crash onto a vehicle below. Hobbs throws the first punch, but Brixton easily hurls him into a car. When Brixton turns, he and Shaw lock eyes. Old teammates turn enemies. Years ago, Brixton betrayed their agency and joined Ideon, forcing Shaw to take him down. Now face to face, Shaw attacks, but Brixton's enhanced strength quickly overwhelms him too. In the chaos, Hobbs knocks down an agent and grabs a grenade, tossing it at a car that crashes toward Brixton. But Brixton's cybernetic arms stop the wreck with terrifying ease. Meanwhile, Hattie fights her way free. Hobbs runs after her, but Shaw screeches up in his car to pull them both to safety. Brixton and his men mount high-tech bikes and give chase. A high-speed pursuit unfolds through crowded streets. His advanced bike allows him to twist, jump, and bend through obstacles as if it were part of him. He opens fire, cornering the heroes. Hobbs yanks a biker off his seat and slams him into a wall, while Shaw makes a daring move, sliding the car under a truck. Brixton follows effortlessly, but Shaw pulls a sudden U-turn, causing Brixton to crash violently into a bus. For now, they escape. Their relief doesn't last. Soon, Ideon hacks every news broadcast, framing Hobbs and Shaw as international terrorists. The world now believes they're dangerous fugitives. Watching the coverage, Hattie insists they must find the scientist who created Snowflake, the only one who can remove it from her system. Hobbs shows her the photo the CIA gave him, and within hours, they track down Professor Andreo, cornered on the street. The scientist finally explains, the capsule inside Hattie will dissolve within 42 hours, releasing the virus into the air. He originally designed the tech to deliver vaccines, but Ideon twisted it into a bioweapon. The only way to safely extract it is with a machine at their heavily guarded facility in Ukraine. With no time to waste, the trio regroups at Shaw's hideout to prepare. They forge new identities, gather costumes, and head to the airport. Shaw and Hattie pass through security smoothly, but Hobbs is stopped. Shaw deliberately gave him a false name to slow him down. Still, Hobbs forces his way onto the plane before takeoff. Mid-flight, the bickering starts again, waking Air Marshal Dinkley. Amused by their arguing, Dinkley quickly realizes they're on a mission. A former Marine hungry for action, he offers his help. The duo brushes him off, but Dinkley slips them his card anyway. Meanwhile, Brixton captures Andreo and drags him back to Ideon headquarters. He chains him up, firing bullets dangerously close to his body to scare him into cooperating. When the scientist refuses, Brixton raises the stakes with a flamethrower, leaving Andreo with no choice but to reconsider. In Moscow, the heroes turn to Shaw's old contact, Margarita, a crime queen with history with Shaw. She greets him with a kiss, then provides intel on the Ukrainian facility. With time running out, Hattie volunteers to let herself be captured so they can infiltrate from the inside. Hattie agrees to let herself be captured so she'll be taken straight to the extraction machine, giving Hobbs and Shaw a chance to track her. Margarita arms the trio with weapons and gadgets before handing Hattie over to Brixton as a prisoner. The next morning, she arrives at Ideon's Ukrainian facility while Hobbs and Shaw parachute in, landing inside a silo to begin their infiltration. As Hattie is escorted to the lab, where Professor Andreo is forced to prepare the machine, Hobbs and Shaw plant explosives set to detonate in 45 minutes. Splitting up, Hobbs takes out a lone guard while Shaw brawls through a group, beating them down with his usual style. Both men regroup but are quickly ambushed by Brixton, who knocks them unconscious. Meanwhile, Hattie is strapped to a table. She uses her free legs to take down the guards and even steals the needle meant for her. With a pick hidden in her mouth, she unlocks her cuffs, frees herself, and teams up with Andreo to escape through a side exit, taking out more scientists along the way. Hobbs and Shaw awaken to find themselves strapped to electrified chairs as Brixton tortures them, preaching about cleansing humanity and offering them a chance to join Ideon. They refuse, so the shocks intensify. Just then, Hattie and Andreo sneak back in. Hobbs pretends to show interest in Brixton's offer to stall for time, giving Hattie the chance to move in, but her gun fails. Andreo saves the moment, blasting Brixton with a flamethrower, which sends him flying. While Andreo burns more guards, Hobbs and Shaw break free and rejoin the fight. Together with Hattie, they mow through Ideon soldiers, but the victory is short-lived. Brixton recovers, kills Andreo, and resumes the chase. The trio scrambles into vehicles. Hattie races across containers before leaping into Shaw's car, explaining she hid the extraction device in a truck. Hobbs takes off to retrieve it, triggering a high-speed chase inside the collapsing facility. Brixton latches onto Hobbs' truck, but just as the explosives detonate, Hobbs smashes through the walls to escape. Outside, Brixton deploys drones to hunt them down. Shaw dodges enemy cars and ramps off platforms while Hobbs crashes through vehicles and destroys drones with brute force. One by one, the drones are taken down. Shaw even shoots one mid-air as his car flies out a factory window. Eventually, Hattie is thrown onto the hood, barely holding on, until Hobbs reaches out his arm and pulls her into the truck seconds before Brixton can grab her. Shaw lands his car onto the back of Hobbs' truck, then sacrifices it in an explosion to slow Brixton down. With the facility collapsing behind them, Brixton climbs aboard for a final showdown. Hobbs and Shaw take him on together, but even 2 against 1, Brixton's enhanced strength keeps him ahead. Just as he's about to finish them, a massive building collapses onto the truck, cutting the fight short. The duo rushes to the front seats for cover, forcing Brixton to jump off to escape. Once the danger passes, they pull the truck over at a safe spot, only to realize the extraction machine has been damaged during the fight. Hattie, determined to stop the virus at any cost, is willing to sacrifice herself, but Shaw refuses to let that happen. He already lost her once and won't go through it again. Hobbs then offers another solution. They can hide and regroup in his homeland, Samoa. With the help of Dinkley smuggling them in, the trio manages to fly there safely. Arriving in Samoa, Hobbs comes face to face with his brother Jonah, who greets him with a hard punch for abandoning the family years ago. The two brothers argue until their mother intervenes, breaking up the fight with nothing more than a slipper. Inside, Hobbs and the others ask Jonah to repair the extraction machine, but he refuses, unwilling to get caught up in Hobbs' troubles. Only after another scolding from their mother does Jonah reluctantly agree to help. At Jonah's car shop, Hobbs looks for weapons, but to his surprise, his mother has already gotten rid of every firearm, leaving only traditional Samoan tools and weapons. With no choice, they prepare traps, sharpen blades, and ready themselves for the upcoming fight. Meanwhile, Jonah works tirelessly on the machine while Hattie hacks into Idion's system, managing to disable their digital weapons, but only for 6 minutes. During a quiet moment, the emotional weight brings them closer, and they share a kiss, finally mending the pain of their past. At the same time, Hobbs reconciles with Jonah, apologizing for abandoning the family. The brothers embrace, finally putting old wounds to rest. By now, Jonah has finished repairing the machine and begins the extraction process. Though it will take time, the peace doesn't last long. Brixton and his men soon arrive, surrounding the building with their vehicles. As they prepare to attack, Hobbs steps outside with his brothers, standing tall together. Thanks to Hattie's hack, the enemy's guns fail, giving Hobbs the perfect moment to strike. After chanting a traditional Samoan war cry, he sets off explosives that destroy several enemy vehicles. Shaw then rolls in with a truck fitted with a flamethrower, creating a ring of fire that traps Brixton's forces. The battle erupts into brutal hand-to-hand combat. Idion's agents, so used to guns, struggle against Samoan weapons and traps, but Brixton's enhanced body keeps him in the fight. Meanwhile, Hattie is still connected to the machine and becomes a target. She fights back bravely but is quickly outnumbered, forcing Shaw to rush in. Together, the siblings hold their ground, defeating waves of attackers without disrupting the extraction process. A sudden explosion knocks Hattie off balance, and in the chaos, Brixton seizes his chance, grabbing her by the neck. Hobbs and Shaw spot Hattie being dragged toward Idion's helicopter. They give chase in a truck, with Shaw at the wheel and Hobbs readying a heavy chain. As the truck launches over a jump, Hobbs hurls the chain, hooking the helicopter in midair. Shaw pushes the truck faster, dragging the chopper lower, while Hobbs activates the engine to reel it in. Furious, Brixton seizes the controls himself, lifting both the helicopter and the truck into the air. At the last second, Jonah and the other brothers arrive with their own trucks, linking them together to add weight. One by one, their vehicles form a chain against the helicopter. Brixton desperately flies the chopper toward a cliff, trying to pull them all down, but the Samoan brothers fire up their boosters, dragging everything back to solid ground. As the chase continues, Brixton's weapons come back online and chaos erupts. Shaw struggles to keep the helicopter tied down while Hobbs fights to reattach the chain. Meanwhile, Hattie bravely takes on the guards, and in the crossfire the helicopter is badly damaged, sending it crashing into the cliffs along with the truck. Miraculously, everyone survives, including Brixton. Hobbs and Shaw rise from the wreckage for one final showdown. Brixton's strength is overwhelming at first, but the two realize that by fighting in sync, one distracting while the other strikes, they can finally match him. Together, they land blow after blow until Brixton is left broken. At the same time, Hattie uses her wits to cause an explosion that weakens him further. Defeated and humiliated, Brixton is shut down remotely by his mysterious boss, who promises this isn't the end. With the fight over, Hobbs reunites with his daughter and family in Samoa, while Shaw and Hattie reconcile with their mother. What began as a mission of survival ends with family, unity, and the hint of a greater battle ahead. And that's how Hobbs, Shaw, and Hattie took down Brixton and saved the day. But with his mysterious boss still out there, the fight is far from over. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's coming next.